Some men are built differently, especially back in these days of MMA, and I'm so glad I get to call this guy a coach. The man is the legend, Peter Irving. He's the one with the red tape gloves, the tattoos, who looks like your favorite Jason Statham character. My favorite's Arthur from Mechanic Resurrection. He does the Hitman Blood Money pool kill in that. Excellent. It isn't just exceptional that Pete took this fight on 3 days' notice, but Pete, an average lightweight by today's size standards, took this fight that ended up being a heavyweight with a kid on the way, a grand short and rent. It's an exceptional performance full of guts and craft that we're going to get into right now. So Pete is keeping his range and using his jabs, being cagey to start off. You don't want to just start exchanging when there's such a huge weight difference against such a hitter. You don't want to just trade immediately. Inside low kick for inside low kick, and then he uses his hook cross. They end up in a clinch. His opponent, using his size, is hanging on that tie clinch and looking for the knees. Both men using old school Delagrate dirty boxing. His opponent forces a takedown in and he uses his offensive wrestling to start threatening getting back to the feet. He's stuck in a front headlock here early in the fight. Cauliflower ear creator, especially with someone that big. But he keeps his calm with his high guard, returning to his feet and then returning to the center of the cage. On these breaks, he's not just circling for the sake of circling. He's not just circling around the cage, but he's circling around his opponent and getting to the center of the cage. He initiates with a jab to low kick. Classic cadence striking, as the Dutch would call it. Lead hand to right low kick. We're going to see a lot of that in this fight. Very Thiago Alves. Moving around, using these small little feints. Jab, jab, parry, and then extending on the third phase. He throws a kick, but shows exceptional balance there and takes a little knee to the pills. Very, very cheeky from his bigger man. He times the jab. As the opponent jabs, this is something about jabs. As you jab, you put all your weight on that lead leg. You can't retract and check at that point. So Pete timed it with a hard low kick. He's keeping his range, and now he's banging in a hard low kick. Caden striking that Dutch style left hook into right low kick. Even if they block that left hook, it's going to shift their weight onto that leg so they can't lift the leg, and that low kick is going to smash home. Now he's doing the same on the other side. Right straight into left low kick. He's having to use his movement in combination with his high guard. It's not enough just to high guard, especially when you're against such a big hitter, someone with a weight discrepancy like that. If you're high guarding, you got to move as well, which is what he's doing. Countering the jab, both men getting into it, and there he's using a Roberto Duran classic. The left hook to the body, overhand, hangs around a little bit long and gets caught, but it's at the classic combination if you watch any Roberto Duran fight. Body hook to overhand, very hard combination to defend, and back to the movement. Using his hand parries, gauging his distance, never staying in the same place for too long. You don't want to do that against someone too big. He's managing to take a little bit of the sting off the shots by using that backwards movement and back to the classic left hook into right low kick. Classic combination and then mixing it up with the Superman punch. Some people throw Superman punches just for the sake of it, especially when you're looking at big, dumb, open mat spars. But when you've established the low kick, 100% more effective. And back to the circling. Really effective because he's not just circling around the cage. He's using that circling to get back into the center of the cage. And then he can use his movement forward, back, multi-directional movement, and assess how he's going to attack much more effectively. Using these lead hands to low kicks. And that's another mix-up. If you've been throwing left hook, low kick, left hook, low kick, left hook, right straight, mixes it up as people brace. Gets caught with a cut kick there as he goes for a body kick. But we're going to see some amazing calm in facing the bigger man, trying to slam down these elbows, but he's just going between playing the feet on the hips, up kicking, getting his hands in a tight guard where he needs to, double undering, and then using the technical lift, but getting back to his stance with it. Never looking at the floor of that technical lift. He always had his eyes on what his opponent was doing. You never want to look at the floor at your technical lift. And then after these big exchanges of energy, he's not just walking away looking to get his breath. He gets back onto him with these simple combinations and back into nice, tight frame, tight movement, jab cross, jab into low kick. Starting to steal inches from his opponent as he sees he's starting to get a little bit more tired. Generally circling to the right to avoid that big right hand. Clattering him with a 1-2, nice and simple. As he circles to the right, that helps him set up his right low kick, helps him set up his right hand, gives him a much better angle for it. Just pouring away with the left hook to get his distance and see can he set in that low kick again. His opponent's starting to check, so when he checks, they're on one leg following with a hand. When he doesn't check, his leg's stuck there, his weight's on it, smashing the low kick in. This pays dividends in these longer fights against the bigger man. He takes a low kick back, but against the bigger man, you've got to spread that damage. You can't headhunt. You've got to break them down. You've got to press your advantages in mobility and cardio, keeping a nice tight frame there, faking the jab, and then coming around with a hook to low kick. Then there's a cut kick. As he's on the floor, he gets hit with an illegal knee, which gives him a little cut. And because he's so into this fight, despite taking it on 3 days' notice, he threatens the medic not to cancel the fight. He was going to cancel it, but he didn't. Now, this is where you would expect someone who hasn't fought MMA in 2 years and taken a fight on 3 days' notice to start gassing. Not the legend Peter Irving. Round 2 is where he starts to really get cooking on gas and starts putting his combinations together and breaking the other man down. Again, high guard. He's using that inside low kick. Even if you've been hammering the outside low kick and you want to keep punishing that same spot, it's really important to mix in the inside and the outside low kicks. You don't want your opponent to start turning the knee out and making for easy checks, or turning the knee in and making for easy checks. You've got to get it unpredictable, getting them doing a little Michael Jackson, turning their knee in and out. There again, he's hitting the inside low kick. Nice safe shot, even though he's got a little bit less reach. He can still hit that as the nearest target. Bruce Lee Longstreet stuff. There he's using his high guard and generally circling to the right, away from his bigger opponent's power hand. And this circling to the right offers him a lot of availabilities with the weapons he wants to attack with. The left hook lines up better, the right straight over that left shoulder, and the right low kick. They all line up better as he's making this angle out to the side. See how that low kick smashes into the hamstring, where his opponent would have to have some extreme external rotation to manage to block that kick. He fires back with a left kick. That's a big kick to take off of a big man like that. Slows Pete down for a second, but then he's back on the bike using intelligent tools to attack in. He's feinting slightly, hits a jab to low kick. See, even as his opponent checks, he's still catching the better end of the deal as Pete because he's circling to that side. Throws a 1-2. His opponent has a nice left hook counter. The left hook, generally the counter if a right straight falls short. There's an inside low kick to the pills, but Pete has iron pills apparently. Maybe he's got some training with that Iron Nuts Kudo guy, Genki Sudo kicked in the balls that I don't know about. He's never told me about that. He gets back to circling, 1-2, falls short slightly, but he's back to feinting that jab. Not overcommitting or hanging around in the exchanges too long with the bigger hitter. And again, he's spreading that damage, hitting the low kick. Again, the low kick isn't finished when it lands. We saw there he got his high guard up and moving again. You've got to always expect someone's going to fire back after that low kick. That was a first good check, possibly because Pete was circling to the left there and made a better angle for his opponent to check. But back to circling to the right. That's been setting up most of his tools throughout the fight. The jab, just as he lands there. The low kick around the hamstring, jab into low kick again, classic combinations. Sometimes people expect that 1-2. As you jab them, they turn that lead shoulder over to try and get that protection against the right hand. But if you turn that lead shoulder over, it's hard to turn the other way and check. So this is what these mix-ups, these simple mix-ups of jab to low kick, jab to cross, hook to low kick, hook to cross, they end up in a clinch. Really good posture here to maintain and not take knees to the face against the bigger man, and he's breaking. See how he breaks there? He ends up in the southpaw stance. He doesn't throw any strikes from the southpaw stance, but it's really important that you can move in the opposite stance. You might have one good stance in the open, but as you exit a clinch, you don't really have the decision on what stance you exit in. So he exited in the southpaw stance to get back to the center, reset when there's a safe enough distance into his base orthodox stance, and get back to the bread and butter combinations that he's just ratcheting up this full fight, pace and intensity. He eats a left hook on one leg, just solid chin, then there, jab to low kick again. You make the man whiff on the low kick, and this is where you start to see those signs, where people miss a shot and they don't get straight back to the stance. This is where you see they're breathing hard, and this is the time, these are the signs that an experienced fighter like Pete will read to think, I'm going to up the pressure. He mixes in that Superman punch after the low kicks, and there you can see if someone's circling away but not in their stance, they're letting their hands drop a little bit lower. That's when you see they're breaking a little bit. His opponent times that jab with a low kick, but it's much longer to reset in his stance. He's giving up more ground, and now Pete is starting to press a little bit more. That was a nice uppercut from his opponent. That's a benefit as your hands get a bit, as your arms get a bit tired. You start dropping your hands. You can shoot an uppercut from an unexpected angle. So Pete gets back on the bike using that long left kick and then feinting it in to hit a right straight. Beautiful combination work. Everything's building on everything. Arm blocks that right kick, but very important as the arm block. He didn't take it on the spot. Normally I would teach to brace and then fire back, but with someone that big, where there's that much of a risk to your arms, he circled away as he blocked. It doesn't set you up as good for the counter, but it saves your arms. Now he's putting pressure. Even as he gets back from the low kicks, He doesn't let him reset. He's building the combinations. As his opponent's stance squares up and he opens up along the fence, that's when he builds these combinations. He's starting to break them down. Jabs, body hooks, low kicks. Right now we see a crushing left hook to low kick that puts his opponent down and puts him on survival mode. Pete looking for the finish right towards the end of the round. Has this prime old school ground and pound position where his opponent's head is pressed against the fence and there's not enough space to push off and get back. He'd have to wall walk, but he doesn't have the energy. And Pete's desperate for this finish, smashing in elbows towards the end of the round, and his opponent is saved by the bell. What a turnaround. At the end of the last round, Pete was at risk of having the fight called off due to a cut from a knee, but he threatened the medic enough to keep him in there. And at the end of this round, held the turntables. He was smashing his opponent with elbows, hungry for the finish, pushing the pace. After a cagey first round, seeing what the bigger man had, he went full Jason Statham transporter mode in the second round, nearly getting him out of there. But you still have to be careful, even if the other guy's hurt and putting pressure in, because that minute or so rest between rounds, for the bigger guy, that can be a lot of recovery, and that can be what they need to get the recovery to land that big shot. So he's still intelligent with his movement, is my coach Peter Irving, and he's still intelligent with his shot selection, even whilst trying to increase his output. There he goes to the body, always a really good idea against a tired man. And he's using his hands forward to help parry. Parries into low kick, always hitting that same spot on the low kick. Nice high guard. It works because it's combined with movement. A static high guard is a death sentence, but because he's moving with it, he manages to deflect the shots. Even if they come through, he's taking a lot of the power off. He's still making his man work. His opponent has a good adjustment there as he tries to turn it into an elbow as Pete's rushing in. But Pete reads it because he's disciplined enough. He's not running head first into it. Left hook into low kick, and that's beautiful. That's Manhuff style. That's Raymond Decker's 101, and he's really hurting his man with that now. He fires back with an inside low kick, but he's not going to put Pete off him that easy. Inside low kick for Pete, and this sets up something beautiful. He's setting up his hands, and then he goes inside low kick into left body kick, and that hurts his opponent. But so nice, we'll watch it twice. That really works. It gets a nice plyometric stretch where you can fire back in with that left body kick. Really powerful. And as you knock someone off balance with that inside low kick, the hands will reactionarily fly up. If people lose their balance, a lot of times the hands just fly up on reaction. He's jumped in with a flying knee. His opponent tries to shoot and he's sprawled. Now, this moment, it gets a bit gruesome. This is one of those moments the Simpsons predicted. Stop, stop, he's already dead. But Pete's just hanging heavy on his legs, smashing him with elbows, forced him to the fence. I don't know how much more the ref needed to see. It should have been stopped 5 times already. But elbow after elbow, Pete still digs to the body. Still some smart investment to the body in case he tries to recover and get back up. But it's all over. Elbows from half guard. 2 or 3 days notice. Gives up 25 kilograms to fight a heavyweight after not having an MMA fight for 2 years. It's like he's not had a day away from it. Takes a smart game plan, uses good footwork, intelligent combinations, and crushes his opponent with heart and pressure. If you're in Newcastle, go train with Peter Irving at the Newcastle Fight Centre. You won't regret it.